What if your marketing didn't feel like an uphill battle? What if the right clients moved towards you, not because of a perfect post, but because your entire business was built to carry them there? In our last video, we identified the disconnection, and today we're fixing it. I'm handing you the map. The RISE framework meets the client journey. We're breaking down the 4 stages of business from figure it out to boss it out. So you can stop guessing and start knowing exactly what your next move is. If you're ready to stop hustling and start the alignment, let's go. Welcome to the Midlife Business Academy. I'm Lori Lyons, marketing strategist, business coach, and accidental techie. After years of running a successful website design agency, I'm now building the business of my dreams and helping other midlife entrepreneurs do the same. From strategy to marketing to mindset, we covered what really matters when you're growing a business that fits your life. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Midlife Business Academy. I'm Lori Lyons, marketing strategist, business coach, and accidental techie. And this is part 2 of a series I'm so excited about and I've been wanting to do for a long time. The last, 20 episodes or so, it's all been building toward this episode. In the last episode, we talked about disconnection, about what it looks and feels like when your personal transformation, your client's journey, and your business stages are all operating independently instead of operating as one system. So if you haven't listened to that one, go back and start there because it's going to make this episode make a lot more sense for you. So today we're building the full picture. And like I said, I'm really excited about this one. We're going to walk through the client journey stage by stage, map the RISE framework into it so you can see exactly how your transformation connects to how your clients move through your business. And then we're going to layer in the 4 stages of business to figure it out, work it out, rock it out, and boss it out. So you can look at your own business and know exactly where you are and what that means for what you should be doing now. So this is the, oh, that's what I've been missing episode. Let's get into it. So before we start on the full picture, let's reestablish the foundation from the last episode because everything that we're about to do builds on top of this. Your business works. It really works and not just occasionally converts when these 3 things are aligned: who you've become, how your client moves through your business, and the stage your business is currently in. Most people are treating these like 3 separate problems to solve. So they're working on their mindset over here, their marketing over there, and their business strategy somewhere else entirely. And because those things aren't connected, the growth they're getting in one area doesn't translate into the others. You have a massive personal breakthrough. You completely shift how you see yourself and your work, and it can make 0 difference in your revenue if your business is still structured the way it was before that shift happened. That's not a you problem. That's a systems problem. So let's fix it. So here's where the RISE framework meets the client journey. You already know the RISE framework: reveal, release, redefine, and rise. That's the internal process somebody goes through when they're experiencing real transformation. They're not just learning new information, but actually changing it at an identity level. So what I want to show you today is how that same arc maps almost perfectly onto the journey your client takes through your business. And when you see this, when you really see this, you're going to understand why some parts of your business and others aren't. And it's going to be pretty obvious. So here's the through line. Every stage of your client's external journey corresponds to a stage of their internal transformation. The job of your marketing and your offers isn't just to create awareness or drive conversions. It's to guide someone through a genuine shift. That's what makes a business built on transformation different than a business just built on an informational delivery. You're not just teaching, you're guiding. So let's walk through it. The reveal stage is where someone starts to see what's actually going on for them. not the surface symptom that they're trying to fix, but the real thing underneath it. The thing they maybe knew was there, but wasn't, they hadn't quite found the language for it. So, in the context of your client's journey, this is the discover and connect phase. It's where they first encounter you, your content, maybe your podcast, your social media, probably, whatever that front door to your business looks like. And they have that feeling of recognition that she's talking about me feeling. So this is where your marketing either works or it doesn't. When you're in the reveal stage with your marketing, you're not pitching, you're not listing features, you're holding up a mirror and saying, here's what I see. Here's what's actually going on. Here's what you've been trying to name. If your marketing isn't do this or your business message isn't doing this, people will scroll past. Not because they're not interested in what you do. They might really need exactly what you have to offer, but it's because they don't see themselves in what you're saying. You're describing a solution before they've even had a chance to recognize the problem. And that gap is where all the content in the world won't help you build traction. So I see this constantly with coaches and service providers in my space. They're talking about what they do, their method, their framework, their results, how many videos and PDFs they have. But they haven't shown the person on the other side that they understand what it actually feels like to be stuck in that particular way. The reveal stage isn't about you. It's about them finally being seen. So the next stage is the release stage. And this corresponds in the client journey to the engage and invite stage. So now they're leaning in. They've recognized themselves in your content. They're listening to more episodes. They're finally reading your emails. They're paying attention to how you think. And something in there is starting to shift a little bit. This is the release stage. This is where they begin to let go of the stories and the assumptions that's been keeping them stuck. That I've tried that before, and maybe that works for other people. Yeah, probably the exception. Those are beliefs that are keeping them stuck. And those beliefs might start to loosen when they consistently encounter someone who sees their problem clearly and speaks to them directly. So in the client journey, this is the engage and invite stage. They're not ready to buy yet, but they're listening. And this is important because they're in the process of opening up their minds. They're becoming more available to something different that you have to offer. So your job here is not to push, it's to invite. And again, that goes back to that sales is yucky thing. You have a service, you have something that can help them. Is it selfish to keep it to yourself? So you want to invite them to experience. And there's a massive difference in that. Pushing sounds like, here's why you need this, here's what you're missing, here's the limited time offer, that old, what's it going to take to get your business, little lady kind of used car salesperson. That's what we think when we think sales are yucky. But inviting sounds like, you know what, you've been seeing this in yourself. Here's what it looks like when it shifts. Here's what people who are ready for that next step go. One creates pressure. The other amplifies readiness. When this stage is working well in your business, your audience is growing and it's warming organically. People are sharing your content because it says things that they've been wanting to say. They're showing up on your list, your DMs, your calls, or already have convinced. Not because you sold them, but because the journey brought them there. You've invited. You're serving. And when it's not working, you've got an audience that engages but doesn't convert. Lots of likes and comments, but not a lot of sales. And if that's where you are, the fix is almost never a better offer. It's usually that the release stage isn't doing its job. So next is redefine. And this relates to the convert and experience stage because this is where the real identity shift happens. The redefined stage is where your client stops seeing themselves as the person with the problem and start seeing themselves as the person who has a different relationship with that problem. They're not just learning a new approach. They're becoming someone who operates from an entirely new set of beliefs. In the client journey, this is the convert and experience phase. They say yes, they step into the offer, and now they're doing the actual work. And this stage is everything, because if your offer is just delivering information without guiding them through transformation, the clients will finish it maybe and feel like they got a lot of value, but then they go right back to what they did before because the information didn't change them. Transformation does. And only identity level work is transformational. So when the redefined stage is working, your clients get results. They get real, sustainable results. They're not just getting better at doing the thing, they're seeing themselves differently. And that's what creates testimonials that actually convert future clients because they're speaking the transformation. They're walking the walk, talking the talk. They're not just looking at tactics. So when it's not working, you get a particular kind of frustrating feedback. People who like you, they liked working with you, they felt good about the experience, but nothing changed. They can't quite point to a concrete shift. Or clients who make progress while they're working with you, but then they seem to slip back. The container was good, but the identity work wasn't anchored. So the last step is the rise stage of transformation, and it correlates to the refer and return stages of the client journey. This is what we've been leading up to, and there's the stage that most people ignore in their business. Everybody wants referrals, but they don't gear their business toward referrals. So the rise stage is when your clients own their results. They don't just achieve them, they own them. It's changed them. They know why they've changed, and they know how to keep building on it. The ownership is what separates a client who says, working with Lori was great, from a client who says, working with Lori changed how I see my entire business, and clients are flocking to me over and over again. And when they're finished, they're referring me to their friends. In the client journey, this is the refer and return phase. And when it's working, it's not because you have a referral program or you're offering a certain percentage of business or your affiliates or you follow it up. It's because the experience itself took them to a place where talking about you is natural, because talking about the transformation is natural, and you're part of that story. This is also where repeat clients come from, not because you pitch them on the next thing, but because they trust the process and they want more of it. When businesses skip this stage, and a lot of them do, most of you are probably skipping this stage because it's the least urgent feeling piece. You end up on a perpetual acquisition treadmill. Say that a couple times. You're always looking for new clients because the existing ones aren't circling back to you. It's exhausting and it's expensive and it's totally fixable. So where do the businesses break down? Where does it fall apart? Because understanding where the breakdown is just as important as understanding the framework. Most businesses I look at are skipping stages or they're jumping around stages. And it's not intentional. It's not because they're lazy, but because it's nobody taught them how to think about the journey as a whole. They were taught to think about tactics. They were taught to think about what they're going to be. Is their next reel on Instagram going to be? Or what are they going to do to build their YouTube channel? They were taught what to post, what to offer, what to say on a sales call. But they didn't have a client journey. And without a client journey, tactics are just noise. So here's what it looks like when you skip it in practice. skipping the reveal and going straight to invite. You're putting out offers and call to actions before you've done the work of helping people recognize themselves in your content. You aren't talking pain. You're putting out cutesy quotes or whatever, and then saying, hey, if this resonated, come hop on a call. You're not talking about the problems that you solve for the clients. You're not talking about the transformation that they will have by working with you. You're going right to the offer. And you might have a big audience and low conversions because people aren't ready. And it's not because your offer is bad, but because they haven't had their, hey, you're talking to me moment. If you skip release and go straight to converts, you're trying to sell people who are still holding on to limiting beliefs that are keeping them stuck. The objections you're getting aren't really about the price or the timing. They're about the fact that they don't yet believe that change is possible for them. And you can't sell your way past that. You have to guide them through it. If you skip rise entirely, you deliver great work and you move on and you never build that kind of word of mouth ecosystem that makes growth feel sustainable. You're already starting from zero instead of building a momentum over and over and over again. And that business feels heavier. It feels like like you're on a hamster wheel. It's always a business that's missing one or two of these stages. And the answer isn't a new strategy. It's filling in the gaps. So here's the layer that makes all this land differently for different people. And it's the one I find most people have never thought about intentionally. Where your business currently is in development depends on how well you can guide this journey and what your primary focus needs to be right now. There are 4 stages to business: the figure it out, work it out, rock it out, and boss it out stages. And I named them this way, number 1, because I love the name, and I stole it from somebody, and I have no idea who, because I can't find who originated it. So whoever you are, thank you, because I think it really describes in a fun way where we are in our business, and it gives you a progression. So let's walk through them. The figure it out is the earliest stage of business and where a lot of you are. And it's not a bad place to be, but it requires honesty about where you actually are. In figuring out, you're still teasing. Your message is still forming. You're learning who your ideal client really is versus who you thought they were when you started. Your offer might exist, but it's not consistently converting. Or it's converting, but you're not exactly why or how to replicate it. In this stage, your client journey is mostly front end. You're doing a lot of discover and connect work. You're putting yourself out there. You're building awareness. You're having conversations. But the rest of the journey isn't built yet in a structured way. The trap in figure it out is trying to build the full machine before you have the foundation. Investing in complex funnels, elaborate content system, high-ticket programs, when what you actually need is to get clear on your message and test it enough time to know what works. Your one job, and figure it out, is to get clear on who you serve, what problem you solve, and what your clearest path to conversion looks like. Everything else is secondary. And this is really hard because we get very impatient. And we see all the bro marketers saying, oh, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this. As a website design agency owner, I tell a lot of my clients, you don't need a website yet. Because what's going to happen is when you're in the figure it out stage, you're going to be changing this a lot. Don't invest in something that you're going to spend thousands of dollars on that you're going to have to change probably within the year because you haven't figured it out. You haven't gotten to that point where that makes sense yet. You need to play with it, work with your message, work with what you're doing. And that's a great place to be. Go out and meet people, go out and talk to people, eyes to eyes, nose to nose, toes to toes. That's what I say. That's a great place for the figure it out business. Second stage is work it out. This is where you start to get more intentional. This is where you might start working on that really high level website. You start really working and honing in on your branding and who you are as a business because you're starting to see patterns. You know more about who your clients are and what they need. You've got proof of concept, offers that have worked. People are buying your stuff. You've got messages that have resonated. You're getting a clear picture of what you're building. You know the problems that you solve and the symptoms of those problems that you solve for your clients. But it's still a little inconsistent. You have good months and you have harder months. You're not quite sure of which of your business parts of your business is working because they're well designed versus because you got lucky or just maybe hit upon the right person. You know, what's the old saying? Even a blind squirrel stumbles on a nut every now and then. So in the work it out stage, you're still developing more of your journey. The engage and invite process is very intentional. You're starting to think about how you nurture people, not just how you find them. So the trap in the work it out stage is getting addicted to the hustle. Yeah, we've all been there. You're making it work through effort, long hours, lots of manual outreach, personal force of will. I'm going to do this. And you start to mistake effort for systems. The goal in this stage is to start building infrastructure so the business doesn't require you to be running at full speed every day. Because at this stage in our life, this is how we build the business of our dreams. We don't overcomplicate it, we simplify it. We keep to the stage of the business that we're in and we move along at a pace that makes sense for us. Your one job in the work it out stage is to start designing the journey. You're not necessarily executing it yet. You're starting to, but you're not fully executing. So in the rocket out stage, this is where things really start to feel solid. In the rocket out stage, your message is clear and it connects. Your offers convert with a lot of consistency. You have a really high and good closing rate, such so that when you start getting high closing rates, maybe this is where you up your prices again. Your client experience is intentional. People move through your work and they get results, and you're building a good reputation. The journey's coming together. You're guiding people through reveal, release, and redefine with intention. You're getting referrals, though maybe still not as consistently as you like. You're starting to think about it as a full arc instead of just the next sale. The trap and rocket out is thinking that you're done. This is the stage where businesses often stop investing in their business because they feel like, this is good enough. Good enough can make you a lot of money, but it also has a ceiling. And that ceiling shows up when you realize that your revenue is still tied to your personal time and effort because you haven't fully built out the last stage of your business. Your one job and rocket out, create the experience that drives referrals and return clients. So growth doesn't require you to consistently and constantly restart. So the final stage is the boss it out stage. And this is where your business has real momentum. And boss it out, you're not just delivering results, you're creating an experience that carries people through the full journey. Your marketing, your offers, your delivery, your client experience, it all works as a system. Referrals are coming in, clients are returning, and you're not starting from zero every month. The rise stage is fully functioning here. Your clients own their results completely, that they can't help but talk about it. The trap in the boss it out stage is complacency. Or we're going to look for that next shiny thing because success is boring. You're bored. The work at this stage is about deepening and scaling, not reinventing. The business is working. Your job is to let it. And notice, I didn't talk about income or revenue in these stages of business. I talked about more of where this is in transformational, which is very different than I was talking about several months ago, because I see now the different stages of business are based upon the systems and how you're engaging your future clients. So where are you now? Here's what I want you to do, even if you're listening or driving or walking. Get honest about the stage of business that you're in, not the stage of business you want to be in. Not the stage you think you should be in because you've been at this for so long, but the stage you're actually in, because this matters more than anything else when it comes to what you should be working on. I talk to business owners all the time who are really in the work it out stage, but they're implementing like boss it out strategies and then wondering why it's not working. It's not working because you're trying to scale a journey that isn't fully built yet. There's no shame in any of these stages. Figure it out is not failure, it's beginning. But you have to know where you are so you can work in the right part of the program. So here's a quick gut check. If you're still not sure who you're really talking to, your message changes depending on the day you're in. You're in figure it out. If your business is making money, but you're not sure today you can replicate it without running at full speed, you're in work it out. If your message is clear and your offers work, but you're still largely dependent on yourself and your hustle for growth, you're in rock it out. And if your business is generating referrals and repeat clients with regularity, maybe while you're sitting on a beach somewhere and it feels like a system rather than a sprint, you're in boss it out. So know where you are, work the stage, and stop trying to skip ahead. I want to paint you a picture of what this looks like when it's working, because I don't want this just to be a theory for you. When your personal transformation, your client journey, and your business stage are all aligned, here's what changes. Your marketing stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like you're communicating. You're not trying to say the right thing. You're saying the true thing and the real thing. You're not overthinking it. You're just letting it flow. And that comes from actually having done the work. And people feel that. They don't just read your content, they respond to it. They share it. They come back for more. Your sales conversations change. Instead of convincing, you're clarifying. The person across from you has already moved through the reveal and release before they ever get on a call with you. They're coming to you ready, not skeptical, because your content already did the heavy lifting. This isn't a pitch, it's the next step. It's what we call a warm audience or a hot lead. Your client results get more consistent because your offer is built around the transformational arc, not just informational delivery. Clients don't just learn from you, they shift. And that shift creates the kind of results that turns into testimonials and referrals. And the referrals start to feel organic, not because you have a referral program or pay people, but because your clients are telling the story and you're part of it. That's what happens when the rise stage is working. They don't just recommend you, they're raving fans. They evangelize you because it wasn't just a program, it was a turning point for them in their business. That's the business that finally works. Not because you found that magic strategy or you hired the right coach or you finally got the funnel right, but because everything is connected, because you built it around how people actually change and transform. So here's your call to action. Here's your action step. Figure out where you are now. Go back through and listen to this and figure out what stage of business you're in and figure out what stages of business that you're overreaching on and dial those back. That's a good place to start right now is figure out where you are and where you need to start. So look at your business through this lens. Where is the journey strong? Where is it weak? Are you spending all of your time on discover and connect while you're completely neglecting the transformational stage? Are you spending all your time creating reels on social media? That's discover and connect. Are your clients getting results, but they're not becoming advocates? Why not? Are you in the work it out, trying to run it like boss it out? Pick the weakest link. That's your next focus. Not the next new thing, not the next program, but it's part of the journey that's already there, but isn't working the way it should. And if you need some help with this, schedule a profitable path blueprint call with me, because the truth is you probably don't need to build anything new. You just need to connect what you've already built. We'll look at the full picture, where you are in the 4 stages, where the client journey is holding you and your clients back, and where it isn't. And maybe a move that will help you create some momentum with your business. The link is in the show notes. Go grab a spot. Come ready to work. So you've done the work on yourself. It's time for your business to catch up. And remember, it's never too late to build the business of your dreams. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me on the Midlife Business Academy. If today's episode made you think, or made you feel, or made you feel seen, share it with a fellow business owner who could use it too. When you're ready for more support, you'll find the link to book your Profitable Path Blueprint call in the show notes. I'll be back next week with more insight and strategy to help you build a business that truly fits your life and one of your dreams. We'll see you next time on the Midlife Business Academy.